All right. Welcome back. I'm glad you all made it to the call. I know it's challenging to try to coordinate schedules, but happy to have you all here. I would like to start out with some wins. I know Mary posted some wins in the group. Caitlin posted some things, but if you guys feel open to it, it'd be cool if you'd share some wins from the last 3 weeks, if you have them.
My pants are fitting better.
Yay!
I can cinch down my belt a little tighter, so
There you go. It's always
yeah.
cool, taking the belt a little bit.
Heck yeah.
Awesome. Good job. What do you think made the difference for you?
I don't know. Doing stuff, getting my butt moving.
Consistency, walking.
Yeah.
That's what I've noticed the most. In your meals, I know we struggled a little bit with some of your meals, but I feel like those are even more consistent.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, since you coached me individually, I'm in the office a lot more, so it's easier for me to do a rounded meal, and so yeah.
That makes sense.
And
But
I love all the ideas that I'm seeing in the group. It's like a lot of inspiration and trying new things. I'm like, oh, I never thought of that. So I love that.
awesome. That is fun. It's fun seeing everybody else's idea. I think everybody got on a sushi kick this week. I kind of laughed.
Yeah.
Sushi.
Okay, Ashley posted in the chat, and now I can't figure out how to open the chat. We'll get there. There it is. I can feel it in my body, like not pounds, but size feels better. I'm also have enjoyed not just doing it on my own. Awesome. Good job, Ashley. That's exciting. Ashley's been super consistent too. I love to see that. Desiree, anything?
I noticed that my belts and like my pants for work are a lot tighter or a lot smaller. Sorry, a lot looser. Good God.
You can
I
get
don't know what
your
word
belt.
I meant. Just couldn't say the right one. It's been really great to get like everybody's different opinions and things that they're doing because I feel like that helps a lot. So I have a bunch of different ideas of recipes I've tried or stuff I've changed, but also just being consistent, like showing up. It was really hard for me for a while to stay on track of actually doing workouts, especially after academy. It's just been one hit after another of now needing surgery that'll happen July 13th. So now I'm trying to figure out how to deal with my how to stay on track of everything while my arm's in a sling for the next 4 weeks. So trying to burn it down now.
I gotcha. Well, that's awesome. Seeing some improvements as far as clothes fitting better. That's a big indication of fat loss is when your clothes start to fit better. That's what I tell everybody. Plus, I mean, it feels awesome too because things just look better. You feel better. It's a good feeling. But we'll talk about that. I got some good ideas for you, so I'll throw some good ideas for you your way. I've been through so many orthopedic surgeries that I know what works and I know what doesn't work. Definitely don't just stop doing anything because I had one of those one year where I just said fuck it and I stopped doing everything and I greatly regretted it after surgery because it took that much longer to get back. So you're definitely not doing that. So you're already ahead of the game there. But
Yeah.
do you have I can't remember if you told me what exactly was wrong with your shoulder.
If I didn't, I don't mind telling everybody that's here. I have two tears. I have the tendon that's right here on the top is, if not partially, fully torn. And then I have a labral tear as well.
Okay. Yeah, we can get you some ideas. It just depends on how much the doctor wants you to stay immobilized. That might be the challenge because sometimes they want you to stay super immobilized, or sometimes they're just like, "Hey, get it moving." So,
yeah, and I'll know more. I'll know more as soon as we get closer to the actual surgery date.
Cool. All right. Well, I know it's frustrating, but keep your chin up. You'll get through it.
I appreciate it. Being around you guys has definitely helped with that.
Good. Good. Mary, what you got?
Yeah. I just have been sleeping so much better. Like it's crazy. That's probably like I slept like 8 hours last night and then I woke up this morning and I could have like slept another 2, which is crazy because that's normally I just feel tired, but I don't. I sleep like maybe 5 hours a night. That's what I've done for like the last 2 years. So, um, And then like I've lost 10 pounds and I'm pretty happy with that. Like my pants fit good too. They're not tight in the thighs. Like I don't feel swollen or like inflamed. And then probably the best, I kind of agree with the other girls, is a lot of times you join a group and then you get like no participation and you don't get to meet anybody. You don't really get to chat with other women or men that are like on their fitness journeys. And I love working out by myself, but I love having a group of people that are accountable and working on their fitness goals too, like independently. And this has probably been one of the better groups that I think I've ever been in. Like people are so positive and so honest about where they are for the day and like what their struggles are. And I don't know, there's just something very uplifting and empowering about a group of people that are like that. And that this is just really hard to express because you can have all the drive in the world, but if you don't have other people that are supportive, and then regardless of whether you're in the same place or not, you're working towards the same goals. Sometimes it just gets really mundane trying to do it for yourself. But like if you have other accountability partners, it's like you don't want to let anybody down. Like I look at all these people putting their heart into things and it just makes you want to do it more, you know?
Yeah.
Probably the biggest one because I haven't had a group like this in a while. Just in just different personalities and just fun, just different things and recipes. That's the recipes. I could be like, yep, and I just write them down because like I
Yep.
never thought, like when I saw your recipe today, I would have never thought, okay, tater tots in an air fryer with, chili and a little bit of cheese and a whole bunch of chicken would be like a healthy meal. That's not what I would gravitate towards because I always just think like whole foods, nothing added to them, just like vegetable, you know what I mean? Like, and so I'm like, dude, my husband would eat that. Like, I could totally serve that up. And that's like a great idea. And so I've gotten more recipe ideas from this group too. So it's nice. It's nice to have that.
Awesome. I love it. That was the most exciting thing for me was seeing the community come together. So that was really cool. So I'm
Yeah.
proud of y'all. Y'all picked it up and ran with it and did fantastic. So it was really cool.
It's really neat, like having this sisterhood. And well, I mean, I know Ashley, but like I've never met the rest of you in person, but we're all from similar fields and can relate to a lot of things, from mental health to diet and exercise and what we struggle on shift. And like it's really cool to come together and have a sisterhood, like over common things when we may never meet if it wasn't for this group.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's always been my goal. I feel like, at least from my experience on the law enforcement side, I feel like women fight each other more than they actually like help each other. Mary, I'm sure you probably know what I mean.
I don't know
So
what that is either. And it's just like we should be empowering each other to be our best selves instead of trying to touch each other down. But for some reason, it's a competition thing. And I know we'll never understand that. This has been so nice. It hasn't been like that on here. So it's just, I'm grateful for that. It's very uplifting.
Desiree, we not talked. You're from Kansas City.
Technically, I'm from Nevada, but I moved all the way out to Missouri.
I grew up in Kansas City, so my
Oh,
my
really?
my parents are up there. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Where are you at? What city? Or what are you close by?
I work in Raytown.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. Oh no.
Have you heard?
We're in Raytown.
No. Well, I know I drive through it when I go home from Tulsa, but not to get off topic. Sorry, guys. I just saw Kansas City and was like, oh my God. No, Kearney, Missouri. You know
Yeah.
where that is? North of Liberty.
Yeah.
That's where I'm from. That's where I grew up. So
Oh, okay.
it's like 40 minutes from you ish.
Yeah. There's a kid that went through my academy class who lives out there, but works in Independence.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All familiar. Cool.
Yeah.
Anyways, side note, I got way too squirrel. I got too excited. Caitlin said my quality of sleep is also improved, and then Desiree also commented my sleep is getting better. So yeah, super excited, super happy. Y'all have been super supportive and hopped in together and cheered each other on. So here comes Olivia. She popped out and came back in. She was having self-service issues. All right. Super excited, super proud of you guys. You guys are doing awesome, and I've had a lot of fun. So I hope you guys have had fun. obviously why you've been able to enjoy these last 3 weeks. So let me hop into what we're going to discuss and we'll roll from there. Let me see if I can, it won't let me minimize it. Nope. Okay, cool. All right, so getting into the protein guide. We got some more people coming in. It's not letting me minimize my screen like it usually does. Okay, there we go. Anyways. Hi Brenda, glad you're here. All right, so getting into the protein guide. So if you've seen my content or at least been a part, paid attention in the challenge, you know I really push protein, especially that's the basis of the balanced plate is picking your protein first, and then making sure you have your carbs and your vegetables around that. So a good goal for protein, if you're trying to get into the numbers and the nitty gritty of things, this means you're going to need to start logging and tracking your food to some degree. I always encourage you to use MyFitnessPal, but if there's another app that you enjoy better, that's fine. That's just what I've used for years. So step one there would be to start logging your food so you have an idea about what your intake looks like. Typically, it's pretty telling. You'll learn more about what it looks like on paper versus, oh, maybe like I'm eating way more than I thought I was eating, or I'm eating way less than I thought I was eating, or oh, like I'm only getting 50 grams of protein a day. That's probably not ideal. So start logging your food to get an idea there. From there, if you're trying to calculate your protein, you're wanting to look at about 0.7 grams per pound of body weight. So basically what that means is you'll take your body weight and you'll multiply it by 0.7, and that's what your initial goal is. However, if you're logging your food, say you're getting like 75 grams of protein per day, we'll take a 150-pound female just because the math is easy on that. So your goal should be 1 gram per pound of body weight. That's like what your end goal is. So if you're 150 pounds, ideally you want to get 150 grams of protein. But if this is new to you and you're just starting to log protein and trying to increase your protein, you can start at that 0.7 per grams per pound. So for quick math, I said that was going to be easy and now I got to pull out my calculator. 150 times 0.7 is about 105 grams. So, and 100 grams of protein is a pretty good start for most, especially if you're not used to really increasing your protein. So I would say if 105 grams is your first target, but if you are logging like 50 grams of protein a day, for instance, maybe your first goal is 75 grams. So maybe you create a step to get there and then you increase in small steps from there. Because what a lot of people see is they'll get on these calorie and macro calculators and they'll see where they need to be, and then they'll try to make that jump to that target. And that's where a lot of people fall off because they're like, I can't eat this much. I can't do that. Like, this is just insane. So take baby steps. So you have the idea of, okay, I'm trying to get 0.7 grams per pound of body weight. So as a 150-pound female, that means I need to start at 105, but maybe I've been at 50. So maybe we're going to set a goal and say, well, next week I'm going to get 75, or you can even maybe bump it down and get 60. Until you get consistent with those numbers, you can keep increasing slightly until you're at those targets. So eventually, once you get to 105, great, you're at that 0.7 mark. So now you're at like the very minimum that you need. So then from there, you work from 105 to eventually get up to 150 grams of protein, which would be at 1 gram per pound of body weight. But if you're also trying to lose weight, lose some extra fat, your body weight's going to start coming down as well. So maybe at some point that meets in the middle a little bit. But for a lot of people, say if you come to me and you've got, I don't know, anywhere between 20 to 50 grams, or 50 grams, 20 to 50 pounds of weight you're looking to lose is like an ideal body weight. I'm not going to throw you up to 1 gram per pound of body weight where you're at now, because ideally that's going to come down because your weight's going to come down. So that's something to keep in mind too. But ideally, take your weight times 0.7. That's where your target is, and then build those baby steps to get there. Does that all make sense with everybody so far? Okay. You guys have all been doing really well as far as your overall food quality from what I've seen. But just some tips to work towards that protein, especially with lunches and dinners. Make sure you're getting about 4 to 5 ounces of protein at a minimum. That's about the size of a fist or a deck of cards. That 5 to 6 ounces is going to be more of like a serving and a half. So like a fist and a half or a deck of cards and a half of protein there. And then getting in some protein snacks. So you have your overall protein. So that's target one. You need an idea about how many calories to put in your body to make sure you are fueling yourself well enough for your output. So next, what you'll do within this guide, I have it more laid out so you can look at it. Brenda says, curious where we need to start losing weight. Okay, let me get to that, and then I will get more specific with you, Brenda. So if you're looking at a calorie standpoint, ideally your start is if you're working out 3 hours per week. So that can mean getting in 3 walks per week. It can mean 3 gym workouts per week. Just keep in mind where that intensity level is, because that will come into play a little bit. But you'll take your body weight and multiply it by 12. That's if you're working out 3 hours per week. So 150 times 12 is 1,800 calories. So 1,800 calories would be your maintenance amount of calories to get in at that point. Again, if you are, and again, most women that I get, if I'm coaching one-on-one, they're coming to me and they're under eating, because a lot of you guys are so used to eating 1 or 2 meals per day, you're not getting in enough calories. So again, if you're tracking your food and your intakes at like 1,500 or less, small steps. Work to get 1,500 consistently. Okay, great. Then work to 1,600, then 1,700, then 1,800. Or you can take bigger jumps if you feel like you can. But you're working up to that 1,800 calorie mark to maintenance, because essentially what that's called is reverse dieting. And what that does is it helps get your metabolism moving again. So a lot of times when women come to me, it's because they can't lose weight because they're under eating. And what happens is your body goes into a starvation mode. So if your body feels like you're not giving it enough food, it actually conserves and it doesn't burn as much energy, and it holds on to that extra fat you're trying to lose. So that's why a lot of women are like, I'm only eating 1,500 calories. Why am I not losing weight? Well, your body's just not responding to what you're giving it because you're not giving it enough. So that's where the reverse dieting comes in, because once you start increasing your calories slowly, you're increasing your protein slowly, your body starts to respond, and then you start to see some of those inches come off. So you'll reverse diet up to about 1,800 calories in that scenario. And then from there, that's when you evaluate if you hit a plateau. Maybe you start to see weight loss come off. Maybe you lose about 20 pounds. And then all of a sudden you hit a plateau at that 1,800 calorie mark. That means your body is adjusted to it. And then you can either work into a deficit or a surplus. All right. I know everyone's listening in the background. Just shoot a thumbs up in the chat if all of this is making sense. I want to make sure I'm not losing anybody. Ashley's hungry at the ball fields. Mary's doing good. Is everyone else tracking me? Hopefully. I know some of this number stuff can get off into the weeds a little bit. All right. Yes, can't find my thumb emoji. There we go. Okay, cool. Just want to make sure everybody's still tracking me. So then the idea is, once you're at a plateau, you're not seeing any fat loss or weight gain, you've found your maintenance amount of calories. So from there, you either, if you want to continue fat loss, you'll go into a deficit, which will take your overall calories. So say you're at that 1,800 calorie mark, you'll start with a 10% deficit. So times 0.1, that means it's 180 calories. Subtract that from 1,800 and you get 1,620. So that would be your first goal of where you would start pulling back a little bit into that deficit to start to continue seeing more fat loss. So then you'd be in a deficit. If you are happy where you're at and you're wanting to work towards strength and muscle gains, more of like adding size. And when I say size, it's relative. It takes a long time to put on muscle. So you're not going to turn out like the Hulk in like 6 months. It's going to be like 5 years. If you want to go into a surplus, then you do the same thing. You go back to that 1800, except you're going to add 10% calories to that. So you would take 1800 plus 180, which would be 1980. So that would be your surplus point. If you get into a deficit, you can play with about a 10 to 20% deficit. I don't like to go any more than 15 really, just because you get closer to 15 or to 20% of a deficit or more, you're going to be dealing with a lot of hunger, which nobody likes to be hungry all the time. So I would suggest staying around a 10 to 15% deficit there. And then this is like extra information for you guys. But once you get to that deficit number, if you are continuing fat loss, it's not meant for you to stay there long term. And that's where a lot of us get, and even I've done this in the past and made this mistake. You're not meant to stay in that deficit forever. You go into a deficit for 6 to 8 weeks, and then you cycle back up to that maintenance number. And then you sit at that maintenance number for about 4 to 6, maybe 6 to 8 weeks. And then you can drop back down into a deficit again. You can cycle like that until you reach your ideal body composition or fat loss. Because your body's not meant to be in a deficit for that long. Because what will happen is if you're in a deficit for too long, you'll sleep, like your sleep, your recovery, your mood, some of those things will start to suffer. And so that's a good indication of when you need to come back up into that maintenance amount of calories. Most women are messing with the maintenance amount of calories. I've had a couple male clients who have been on the surplus side of things because they're smaller guys wanting to go bump up. So there's a time and place for both. Does that answer your question, Brenda? Or would you like to get more specific? Brenda, you can pop off mute, or if you want to type in the chat, either way. Or maybe I can unmute you. I can find you. It does. Okay, I see you. Okay, cool. All right. There's Jenny. All right, everyone, does that make sense to everybody? I'm getting a couple thumbs up just to make sure everybody's tracking. Desiree says that's good. Hi, Jenny, glad to have you. All right, so that covers your calories and your protein. There is a link in there to another Facebook training I did one day, so you can always go back and reference that. I'm going to post, or I'm going to send out this replay again. So if you need a quick hit, the guide gives the nuts and bolts of it. So for you all, I wanted to go a little bit more in detail just so you can work through that process a little bit better. But it's all about setting ideal goals for you, right? You don't want to get to a point where you're in like an extreme deficit where you're freaking miserable, because everybody's done that crash diet before where they just like slash their calories, and you might see some initial change, but then after a while it just sucks. That's not the process I work through or encourage. I want you to have sustainable results. So that means little small steps at a time. Because protein and calories becomes much more sustainable if you're giving those small jumps week to week, instead of something giant like flipping a light switch all at once. Okay, Brenda says, it seems that if you want to lose weight and decrease by 10%, if you lose the few pounds that you were trying to, logically the maintenance number would adjust. Yes, that's correct. Your maintenance number will adjust based on what your weight is. And your overall body composition too. But yeah, it's an ongoing thing, and it's an ongoing calculation, just depending on where you're at. It's just a guide, because obviously these numbers are not like hardcore set in stone. And a lot of that just takes knowing your body and listening to the different signs of how well you're doing. Like a lot of you said that sleep is much improved. That's probably because you gave yourself more energy, you gave yourself more food, so your body's recovering better. So it's some small things like that that can indicate that you're doing the right things. So it would evolve depending on how much weight you lose. Your maintenance number would change, but that's just something you kind of have to keep track of and evaluate maybe once a month, depending on how much you're progressing each month too. So, all right, so there's that. Any questions about calories, protein, anything like that from anybody? You can put them in the chat or pop off mute. Either way, I know everybody's got stuff going on. Anybody? Nope. Okay. just needing ideas. What do you want ideas for, Mary? How to add more protein. Yes. So my main suggestions for protein are in those guides, I think from week 1, which is the shift work nutrition guide and the meal prep guide. But really it comes down to finding a breakfast that works for you. Whether you're doing a couple eggs and egg whites, scrambling in some turkey, and maybe some shredded cheese, that right there will be about 30 grams of protein. You can do like oatmeal and overnight oats, like Desiree I think posted today or yesterday, she did protein oatmeal. You could do overnight oats and throw in some protein powder, or like Kodiak Cake is a great brand for the pancakes and the oatmeal. The pancakes you make from scratch, the frozen waffles aren't, I mean, I guess they're okay. They're not as good. But those are great ways to throw in protein powder or like added stuff like that to get your protein there. Greek yogurt parfaits are great because Greek yogurt has 15 to 20 grams per cup. Those are a great start to the day. The breakfast tends to be more challenging because people are usually on the run and trying to find something quick. Protein shakes are great, and I'll get into some protein tips and stuff here in a minute with the supplements, which is why I wanted to throw that in, so I have more protein options for you guys. But yeah, protein shakes, whether you want to do like a smoothie or coffee and protein, is fantastic. So those are your breakfasts. Lunches and dinners, like I said, mainly making sure your protein portions are like at least 4 ounces. Like at a minimum should be 4 ounces for lunch and dinner. Whether you're doing beef, turkey, Brenda, we'd have to explore some options because I know you don't eat meat. So I'd have to do some more research on that because I know you're listening to me going, I don't eat that, I don't eat that, I don't eat that. I would have to do more research into that, but we can figure it out. Basically, but generally speaking, you want 4 ounces of protein, whether it's beef, turkey, pork, chicken, whatever, typically speaking. And then you're just going to follow that balanced plate template as much as you can of the carbs and the starchy carbs and the vegetables. Or you get creative, kind of like what I did today. I know that I added 5.5 ounces of chicken to my meal plus the turkey chili on top of that. And that turkey chili has a lot of good protein in it. So it's kind of just playing around, figuring out what has high protein and what you can get into. And then your protein snacks throughout the day, you're going to want to look at like Greek yogurt, beef jerky, good quality protein bars. I like the One or the Quest bars. What else? Tuna and salmon packets are really good. Brenda, do you do fish? No fish. Okay, never mind. I was like, maybe something. No. Those are the best protein snacks, but you can always throw in like some string cheese, like some nuts, just some other things that aren't necessarily like you would think of a protein source, but have some of that extra protein in it. Greek yogurt, like I mentioned before, is a great one. Beans or leafy greens. Yeah, actually, Brenda and Desiree would probably be good to chat because Desiree is gluten and dairy free, so she has to get creative with some of her stuff too. And some meat substitutes. Yeah. I can look into that. For you, one thing that comes to mind, and actually I just shared this in the group for somebody that posted it today. If you've ever had the Bird's Eye zucchini noodles, those actually have a good bit of protein in them, especially the cheddar ones. The cheddar ones has a lot of protein in it. It's like 20 grams of protein for the whole bag, and you can mix it with whatever you want basically because it's still cheesy noodles, but it's zucchini noodles instead. So that you might look into. They have marinara, Alfredo, and cheddar, I think, and they all taste like regular pasta, but I think the protein content on those is a little bit higher. Okay, Mary, that was a lot. Does that help? Hopefully. I'm sure she'll poke her head in here in a minute. Okay. There she is. She said yes. Okay. We'll talk more through, Mary. There's always different ways to figure it out. Sometimes it just takes me looking at your food logs to figure out where you can add here and there. So take some time. Protein stuff for most. It's pretty challenging for most. Even I struggle with it some days. because I try to get about 150, 160 grams of protein usually for me. So, all right, supplements, the whole world of supplements. So, you're welcome, Mary. Keep in mind, people think supplements are like the quick fix, like magic pill that are going to help you with your fat loss or overall health needs, and they just simply are not. Your supplements are the like last 5% of what you should be worrying about, because your supplements, that's what they are. They're just supplements. They're supplementing your diet. So obviously the basis of whole food nutrition should be the majority of your nutrients, but these supplements do have a time and purpose if there's a need for it. So just to go over a little bit of what I have in here in this guide. The first thing is micronutrients, which that's like your vitamins and minerals. The main thing I recommend there is getting in some sort of daily vitamin. I have some recommendations linked in there. I work closely with First Form because that's the stuff that I use and I enjoy and I see benefit from. But at the same time, I'm not going to tell you to take something that I don't feel like is worth anything. So my recommendations are specific. So daily vitamin, I used to take the Opti Women, or shoot, I can't even remember. Oh, One A Day Women's, which is like your basic one from Walmart. That was fine. That worked for a little while. I have some recommendations in here for the First Form macro pack, which kind of goes more into detail with some greens and essential fatty acids and things like that. And then I have another Optimum Nutrition one in here that used to be good that I enjoyed taking. That was like $20 a bottle, and it lasted for like a month or two. The basis behind a micronutrient or a daily vitamin is that it's going to plug the holes of what you're not getting from your food. It's really hard to get all the daily recommended vitamins and minerals that we need. You'd have to have like 5 servings of vegetables per se to get like all of your vitamins that you're supposed to get from your veggies. So that's where a daily vitamin is good to take. And I usually leave that up to like you as the client to find what you enjoy. And if you want me to give you feedback on it, I can. You can throw it at me and I'll look at the label. But that's the thing with this too, is that the labels are just as important when you're looking at supplements as are with looking at food. Olivia says a multivitamin and omega-3. Yes, those two should be like the basics of like a multi and a fish oil, which is your omega-3 and omega-6s. Because that's the next one that I talk about is the fish oil. I love the First Form fish oil. That's what I take now. The main thing with fish oil is that you would have to eat like 3 pieces of fish to get the amount of fish oil you're supposed to get in your daily diet. The main thing with the omega-3 is EPA and DHA. It's going to help you lower your inflammation. It's going to help you with your mental cognition, and it can improve your mood. The main thing I see with it is the mental capacity of it helps me think better. And then being anti-inflammatory is helpful always because it helps with your joints. It helps keeps pain levels down, things like that. So those would be the basic. Those are just like the basics underlying for that. Okay, cool. Didn't know that. Thanks for sharing. Flax is a vegetarian substitute for fish oil. Okay, learning new things. I like it. Okay, so if you're not going to do the fish oil route, then it sounds like flax would be a good alternate for that. Protein powder. So for Brenda, they do have vegan protein powder, and I know Desiree said she likes to use that. I think she posted before. Yes, she's nodding yes. Okay. So you can find soy or vegan protein powder. I have not tried the vegan protein powder from First Form yet. I need to. I have tried their vegan protein bar, which was decent-ish. You could test that out and see if you like it. It was whole food based. You like vegan? Okay, cool. So the idea with the protein is that if you are struggling to get your protein, the protein powder is a great addition to your day to help you get in some extra protein. If you're struggling with being too full, drinking your protein is going to help with that too. Some people run into that problem where like, I'm just too full. I can't eat a meal right now. I'll probably tell you to have a protein shake because that way if you drink it, it doesn't add to your overall food volume, but you're still getting the protein in. So I have listed in here 2 different proteins. You have your meal replacement protein, which is the level 1. The main difference here is that it's slower digesting, so it's going to keep you fuller longer. So that would be more of your meal replacement protein you could have for breakfast per se if you wanted it with a protein shake. The post-workout protein is going to be the Formula 1. The main difference there is that it's quicker digesting. The post-workout is meant to refuel your muscles as quickly as possible after a workout, so that it can start to repair the muscle and help the recovery process. So small difference there, but there is a slight difference between the meal replacement and the post-workout protein. And one thing I wanted to share with you guys, let me share my screen. You see my 8 tabs of windows open here. So same thing, looking at the labels and just the overall quality of protein. This is like your standard protein from Walmart. Usually this ends up being really gritty. It's like nasty when you try to drink it, and it feels like you have a brick in your gut when you get done eating it. When you look at the ingredients, if I can scroll over this, there's all sorts of stuff in here. Some of the stuff I don't even know what it is. So you really don't know the quality of protein and how much good quality protein you're getting when all these added fillers are in there. But that's why it's $25 at Walmart, because it's not like you don't know what you're getting as far as quality goes. And you're probably going to feel it as far as digestion goes when you take it too. So if you look at this is the first one, Formula 1. I've had vanilla and strawberry. They're both very good. But again, looking at the label, much less stuff in here. And it's flavored with stevia. So you have some natural sweetener instead of like your sucralose, which was what was in the other. And this mixes a lot better. It's not gritty. It's not grainy. Overall, just tastes a lot better, and it's not going to clog up your gut where you feel like you got a brick in your gut after you're done eating it either. So some few things there. Now I lost my window again. There we go. All right. So that's that with protein. I do think protein is probably the best supplement that you can look at buying, especially if you're struggling with your protein intake, because it's quick and easy. And I suggest with a lot of people, if you do find a protein powder that you like, it's something you can take with you to work, where you can throw it in a shaker bottle and you just throw water in it whenever you want to drink it. So it's another great snack that's super easy to pack and take with you and throw it in a lunchbox. The other thing that I need to add to this to update this list is the collagen. The collagen powder is fantastic. I don't know if you guys have been seeing my stories lately. I've been starting to use it within my coffee every morning. Honestly, I think the collagen peptide powder is probably the best bang for your buck, as far as you're getting in usually around another 20 grams of protein with it, but it's also got benefits with hair, skin, and nails. It's going to help with digestion. It's got those extra amino acids in it, which help you grow and repair your muscle tissue as well too. So the collagen peptides are fantastic for that too. And First Form makes those, which I really enjoy. Other than that, in here I do have some greens. There's a myriad of greens products. Those might be some other help benefit to you if it's something you want to try. Again, not absolutely necessary. I know Ashley's been posting about she takes her greens and really likes it. So for some people, you can see some help with it. It is good for the gut. It is good for getting in those extra greens if you're not eating a whole lot of vegetables. And it's got some probiotics in it, which are going to help your stomach if your stomach's a little cranky. And then just as a side note, the other one in here, which again, the further I go, the more into the weeds I get, but that's okay because this is just extra info for you guys. Some people will ask me about creatine. Creatine is probably one of the most well-known and studied supplements within the supplement world. It's 5 grams. It's 1 scoop. It's flavorless. You can throw it in any drink and mix it up. It helps with overall muscle endurance and muscle recovery. And the muscle recovery is where your strength gains are going to come from. So it's not going to make you super bulky. I take it all the time. You see how I look. I don't look like She-Hulk. but it does have the benefits as far as adding muscle and lean tissue to your body. So if that's something you want to look into, creatine's never a bad idea. But in the essence of not trying to get y'all to spend a bunch of money on supplements, because I personally don't agree with that. I would say if you want to get into the overall health benefits, look at the multi and the fish oil. If you're wanting some help with the protein, find a good protein powder that helps you. Really more than that, you're getting into the weeds with more specific goals. So that's about the most basic I can make it. Okay, cool. Thanks for sharing that, Brenda. I'll look at it. Let me get that open and I'll look at it here in a second. It wants me to put in an email address for 20% off. Okay, so Brenda sent me plant-based Vega protein greens. If I can find the label on it. That bums me out when they don't show me the label. I'll probably have to take some time to look a little bit closer into that because I can't find what I want to right now and I don't want to waste y'all's time. All right, guys, that's all I have for tonight. Just as a reminder, make sure you check your email. On Monday, I sent out the email about how to win this whole thing. There is a link to book a call with me. You have to book the call to be eligible to win. And basically the purpose of that call is just for me to follow up with you. I want to hear how you're doing, how the challenge went for you, and basically what you still want goal-wise, because then I want to be able to give you some actionable tips to help you continue on this journey, whether it's on your own or whether it's with me or however you feel most comfortable in continuing. I want to be able to help you achieve that. So some good feedback for me, some good feedback for you. And then just so I can be a face and always a resource for you guys. So does anyone have any other questions about anything? You're welcome, Miss Ashley. Anything, everything tonight, another night, any other info, something you've been thinking about, curious? Why y'all have me? You always have me, but I mean right now. Okay. All right. Well, you guys know where to find me. Make sure if you guys need that link again, you can always message me and I can shoot it to you again. For some reason, if it gets lost in your inbox, let me know to set a time to chat with me. And then also if there's something, if you can't find a time or something on there that fits your schedule, shoot me a message and we'll find something that fits for you. This was a lot and it helped. Yeah, I'm sure. Good. I'm glad. I know. That's why I check in with you guys to make sure your eyeballs like aren't glazing over because you're like, oh, numbers, too much at once. That happens sometimes. You get death. That's what I don't want. You get death by PowerPoint and you just like check out. We've all been there. We've all been to those trainings. All right, y'all. Wow, this actually went an hour. I'm shocked. Cool. All right. Well, if anybody has any questions, y'all know where to find me. If you need anything else, have a great week. It's been fun. And you guys know where to find me if you need anything. So let's finish off this thing strong. I will say that the top of the leaderboard is very close. Very close. So keep pushing through Sunday, actually. I think Monday will be when I announce a winner because it technically runs through Sunday. So Ashley says, everyone be safe. Yes, everyone be safe. Holler at me if you need anything. I'll see you later. Bye, y'all.
Bye.